So my thing is like in your 20s, find out who you are as an individual, dive deep and figure out who you are. And then cling to that person and take care of that person. And pretty much groom that person to be a greater person than what you can expect because we're all forever changing. So if you take the good parts that make you you and that you want to groom to be better, go right ahead because in turn, what can you lose by making the best parts of you better? You can't. So I just again I suggest anyone.
So today we have two ladies, Teneisha Abbitt and Shaneka Rose. And we were just going to share when I met them, will give this background. It was a soul connection. And y'all know I'm real about that. I've met people before and I'm like, oh, I am, I get giddy. That's my personality, but I'm very protective of this space. And the people that come on here, these are people that have inspired me. These two ladies have inspired me through their conversation, through their journey. And our journey is all we have. That is our story. That is how we empower and inspire people. And today, we're going to just share conversations around mindset. I believe our power is in our mind, my mindset, my power. And that's what today's conversation is all about. These two ladies sharing how they use their mind to get through each day at a time, from their childhood to where they are now, just as women. They have other roles in their life, as we all do, but we know we're women first. So these conversations are going to be around who we are as ladies. So please welcome Shaneka and Teneisha.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
So of course we have questions, and I'm going to start with the first question, and the ladies are just going to share however they choose. But and I asked questions that I know I don't know a lot of these answers myself, but some of them was inspired by my conversation with them, and their background was a huge part of that. And the first question I do want to ask about mindset, like in what ways do you believe, ladies, our mindset impacts our life? And what advice would you give to ladies in their 20s? But how does our mindset impact our life?
I'll take that one first. So for me, particularly, my mindset was focused and geared towards what other people felt. It was very other people first, self last. And so for a very long time, I was living my life, I felt like, as an imposter, trying to please people, trying to do what seemed right, trying to live in the box. But as I started to evolve and grow and transform my mindset, I became confident in who I am. And I realized I don't fit in a box. I never have. And so I felt my confidence in kind of like going against the status quo, because part of my mindset was revolved around everything else but what was most important, which was who God created me to be and what he created me for. And as I started to really just dive deep, there were friendships that kind of severed. There were relationships that weren't as strong. And to be honest, they were actually weakening me, because I could not be my true authentic self. And so I would tell people in their 20s just to really believe in who you are, whether it's popular, whether it's, comfortable for other people to accept, just really believe in who you are and don't sway from that. Like, be confident in who God made you, no matter what. And just to continue to renew your mind in the area of what God has for you and where you're supposed to go. And any and everything else that is for you will follow.
Yes. So kind of to piggyback off of what Shaneka said, it's definitely in your individual being, like what you feel is right. I know for me, in my 20s, again, I was a teenage mom. So my first child, 16. So I didn't really have much of I was a mom. Like, I didn't have the luxury of dropping my kids off to go and play games. So I literally had to step into the adult world at a young age. So for me in my 20s, the only thing I wish that I would have had is like a woman like you guys to kind of mentor me in the areas that I needed help in. Now, granted, I felt like I wanted different, but I didn't know who to call. I didn't know who to talk to because everyone around me was just like me. They had umpteen kids, the umpteen man, like everything was just the same. So like I can't really get advice from them, but I know I don't want to be like that. So my thing is like in your 20s, find out who you are as an individual, dive deep and figure out who you are. And then cling to that person and take care of that person. And pretty much groom that person to be a greater person than what you can expect because we're all forever changing. So if you take the good parts that make you you and that you want to groom to be better, go right ahead because in turn, what can you lose by making the best parts of you better? You can't. So I just, again, I suggest any woman that is in that area where they're not sure and they're trying to shift our mindset, I would definitely say stay connected to like-minded women. It could be family members. Stay connected to like-minded men. It could be your father figure or a cousin. You don't know, but just find those people that have a life or moving in the direction that you want, and let them mentor you. Nothing's wrong with the mentor. Like I feel like people need to utilize each other in those positive areas. Just because it can be changing. If it wasn't for a lot of the women that was not family members that I had in my life. Like my cousin, he married a woman and she like pretty much nurtured me. And I didn't have like any but it wasn't raised by my mom. I was raised by my grandmom. She wasn't married. So I didn't have any examples of what a family and relationship looked like. But I knew I wanted one. I knew I was a 16-year-old mom. I knew I wanted that. But I didn't what is an example? What does that look like? What does a positive relationship look like? Never seen one. So when I started seeing stuff that looked like it was okay, maybe not perfect, but it looked like something that I wanted. I connected with those women and those men just to kind of get an insight. And sometimes when I got in there, I'm like, oh no, nah, that just looked good. You know what I mean? But you need to do that. You need to open up and let people mentor you because that's when you realize, you know what, that's not what I thought it was. I want to try it this way. Or you know what, I think my way of thinking may be okay for me. I don't need to do it that way because it looks good over there, but it's not. So I just say, stay true to you and groom the best parts of you.
I don't even have nothing to say. Y'all see why they're here. Okay, next question. Lord, both of you, which is a part of your journey, both of you lost parents. I know Shaneka lost her father at 19. Teneisha lost her mother, not sure the age. And I would like for you to share that piece of what advice would you give a young person who lost their parent along the journey? And I'll say this because I was raised by both of my parents, and I'm very big on, and that's one of the reasons you guys are here, and just life and classism and things, because I learned at a later age, it's one parent, two parent, no parent, orphanage, adoption. That don't matter. It is about choosing your way. So yes, let's go with that question about your, what advice would you give people in your position?
Let me take that one first because mine is kind of similar to Shaneka, but just a little bit unique because unfortunately I wasn't raised by my mom or my dad. I was raised by my grandma, right? So it's a totally different dynamic from I guess kind of like not having neither parent in the home. It's very different. And it's a unique situation because you kind of grow up not knowing what a maternal or a father figure, that feeling, that love, that what is that like from having that person. Just to be totally transparent, my mother passed away when I was 18. I had no clue what her favorite color was, her favorite food. She didn't raise me, so I don't know her. I do not know this lady. Do I feel like she loved me? Do I feel like that she cared for me? Yes, but she had a drug addiction that she just couldn't, you know, get rid of to kind of care for her children. Now that I'm 35 and I raised my kids up, my oldest, is an adult. I've forgiven my mom because I don't know what that type of addiction is, but I've forgiven her because I think, she didn't have the help that I had mentally. Maybe she wasn't as strong as I am mentally to overcome that. So let me not judge her. Let me not harbor those old feelings. Yeah. Let me just know, you know what? That was her. I wish she was here to see the woman that I am because maybe she can help me understand why she wasn't mentally or who was it that she didn't have, right? So it's a difference when you are growing up with neither parent. Just because when you're out here and you go out into the world, and as a child, I remember feeling inadequate because all of my friends, either they had one or the other. I had neither. You know what I mean? So mom or dad was showing up, or both. I had neither. So I felt like an outcast. And then later on in life, moving into relationship with men. Like I said, my first child when I was 16. That even became hard because my grandmother wasn't married. She had no man. I didn't know how to operate with a man. I didn't know how to take authority. And now that I'm older, I realize that, some of my relationships some of those guys really was telling me stuff to better me because I didn't know. You know what I mean? Like certain ways I act, certain things that I said, certain mannerisms, it wasn't ladylike. I'm just being honest. And a guy would try to tell me, pull me in that direction because he knew, maybe because, he was raised by his mom and dad or whatever, but I didn't know that. So I pretty much went through my whole life just like trying to figure out the maternal instinct. I can't even speak on a father because I'm a woman, but the maternal instinct to have for my children because I don't know what that feels like. I never experienced that. I don't know what it's like waking up to your mom fixing you, but I don't know. I have no clue. I just knew, you know what? I want to pretty much forgive someone that I could never tell her to her face I forget because she passed away. And when just being total transparent, when my mom was still living, we did not see eye to eye because I felt like you were dead wrong. Like you were dead wrong. But the 35-year-old me, and mind you, that's the 18-year-old me, hurt, young, abandoned. Like I had all of those ill feelings towards this lady. But the 35-year-old me, I would love for her to see me now. I would love for her to talk to her. I would love to have a relationship with her. I would love for it to be all brand new because I don't know what you went through in your upbringing. I don't know why you chose that route. I have no clue. And I was young and immature, and I wasn't trying to hear that. You can't. The 18-year-old me, I wasn't trying to hear that. You a bad mom. But now it's like, no, I would love to know and I would love to embrace you. I would love to hear that. So it's hard because I have days where I'm sad to where it's like, I wish I had a mom to ask that question. Or I wish I had, a dad that I can call and because my dad, he's still living, but he ain't married. He still think he's 60 and a player. You know what I mean? So he's not doing much of nothing, but I really wish I had those type of people that is older, had a successful marriage, did it right, and I can actually call and ask them, what was your tricks? You know what I mean? How did y'all make it last? Or, how did you overcome that as a man or as a woman, especially in those times? Because right now, we're spoiled. We have the internet, we have this, we have that. They didn't. So we don't know what they were faced with. So it's I can go on and on about not having your parents, but I'm gonna let Shaneka take it.
Thank you, Teneisha. Oh, so much. Yes, you're dropping gems. But we're gonna, Shaneka.
Yeah, well, I won't talk as long, but I really feel like not having my parents really gave me this girl. You don't know how strong you are until being strong is the only option you have. And losing my father, who was also my best friend, it was tough. A lot of my life choices was based around, what would my father think or what would he say? Or, that was my best friend. So I really wanted to please him. And I had my mom up until 3 years ago, but like Teneisha said, we just didn't see eye to eye. Love her, but we were just different. She loved the party. She loved, center of attention. She loved being around people. I'm more reserved, quiet, nerdy. I just love me and my four walls. So we just kind of butted heads because we like different things. Not that, there was any disrespect. It was just like, totally different opposite ends of the spectrum. And so I would just say having those two, for the short time that I did have them, they both instilled a lot into me. I watched them a lot. They were very stand-up people, loved by our community. And so that's what I thought I needed to be, loved by everybody. So please everybody and things of that nature. But I also realized as an adult, just being me is a stand-up person. Like I don't have to do and be all of this stuff because they were out there. Like my mom would do for everybody. And she was like the last on the list. She'd feed everybody in the neighborhood and wouldn't even eat herself. She'd make sure other people's children had what they needed and, wouldn't think twice about herself. She wore the same shoes for almost 7 years. Like it was just, just seeing the sacrifices, which is commendable, but it's also like, I don't want to not live for me. I don't want to do so much for other people that I forget about myself. And so they taught me a lot, but then also a lot of what they did, I saw that I did not want to repeat that same cycle. Health-wise, I wanted to do and be different because they both passed due to health reasons, one with diabetes, the other with cirrhosis of the liver. And so even like alcohol and things like that, like I might have a, a cocktail to celebrate or things like that. But for me personally, seeing what they experience, I don't want to, I don't even play around. So I would say just losing my parents, a lot of people would think like you just go buck wild, like you're resentful, they're not here anymore. You just live your life on your own terms. You do whatever you want and don't think twice about it. Me personally, I still want to honor them as though they're here. I want them to be proud of me. I want them to see like, okay, I have good stock. She's a good seed. I did well. Because we will meet again. And I want to hear like, I'm so proud of you. Like you did great. And I know that in my heart, but of course, hearing it is a totally different thing. So yeah, I would just say losing your parents can be tough, but you also just have to look back on all the gems they dropped, all the, examples that they shown, and you take what you can and you become better. And you live a life that's pleasing, not just for yourself or for them, because you are carrying on their legacy.
Wow. I love, oh my gosh. I got to piggyback on this one just because just sitting here and watching and listening to you two different backgrounds, and then I come with a different background, and just learning from you the things that you're saying and just being honest, because this is for young ladies in their 20s, like Teneisha keeping it, I'm a mix of both of y'all, and that just because I'm not gonna lie, even at this moment, this present season, I am going through inner child work deeply because I didn't lose my parents early, but I did lose my parents later. When I mean that, it's an emotional relationship detachment that I had with them. And I had to, and I'm still going through this process, but again, choosing a family to me is an emotional bond that nobody can give you. It's something you choose. So you guys both have just different stories and different backgrounds. And I love that, just what I took from that. And even what I'm doing now, I'm trying to process is understanding this is our journey. Like Teneisha said, that was her journey. And I love bringing up, you had to look outside of family for inspiration, because that was your journey, Teneisha. And then Shaneka, that was your journey. You take that, bringing up a legacy and understanding, just kind of balancing it all and realizing this is our journey. And whoever you are, whoever's listening, whatever parents you are giving, because Teneisha didn't have a choice about her parents' journey. Shaneka did, and I didn't. Children don't have a choice. One thing I am intentional about, that's another conversation. All three of us are mothers. We'll probably talk about that one day, but be intentional about your children as much as you can. It's not about what age so much. I mean, of course, teenage pregnancy, I'm sure they could say. I was a teenage mother, but I chose to actually have kids at a later age. But I'll just say this, please know that everything is a choice, and your parents was not your choice. So just continue on the journey of forgiveness of your parents and your own self, because you didn't do anything. You didn't do anything. Yeah. So I just want to say that I love that. Just y'all both just gave grace and just some grit around parental, because it's a tough place to be in emotionally when it comes to your parents. It's tough. It is tough. And sometimes I think, I have my parents, I should be grateful. And I am grateful, but I'm not going to overlook the reality of some things that has happened that bothers me and that has impacted my life. So gratitude, grace, and grit, honey, combine them all.
Yes.
All right. So the next question I want to say, parental, that's a huge piece. And let's go to that question. As women, how do we embrace and balance both grace and grit? Because, Teneisha's that gritty. I feel like that gritty, we going to war. I'm grabbing Teneisha for war. If I need Shaneka to give me a prayer, put her arm around me, that's just, I'm going to call. And I'm a gritty person. I'm not going to lie. I'm a gritty woman. Deep down, people look at me and think, but I am. I was raised by my father. He's very gritty. My mom too, in a different way. But I am, I like to go to war about real things, but I'll say the grace piece, So ladies, how do we balance that grace and grit?
So for me, my grit came from being raised by my grandmother. Like I said, she was a woman who raised all 6 of her kids, and then she, raised 3 more that wasn't hers, which was me and my brothers. And just seeing her get up every day, go to work, make it happen, want no man around. She did have one, but that was to her, her legion, like whatever he was, like whatever. So that was my grit, like making sure I had, or not gonna go without. Like I'm not gonna go without. You know what I mean? And I still have that mindset. Like I don't care. The world can fall around around me, but Teneisha's gonna be fine. You know what I mean? That is my grit. And that's a gift and a curse because I've been, because now, I need to have this grace and I'm giving myself grace, but it don't feel right. It's like, hold on now. Like, am I supposed to, am I supposed to relax? Am I supposed to take a step back? Because I've been so used to having to make sure that I am the one that's making sure that everything is in place. So now at 35 and I'm balancing it all, I'm learning that the grit is behind me. That's something that I had to use to now have this grace, to live in this grace, to give myself patience, to give people around me patience, to hear the other side. Because everybody deserves grace, everybody, because no one's perfect. So I'm at a place now to where that grit, it's only for survival if I have to pull it out. But that grace, that needs to be who I'm grounded in to feel love, to give love.
I'm so happy you said that, Teneisha, because I'm the total opposite, and that's why we attract.
Yeah.
No, seriously, like my entire life, I operated with grace, just softness, femininity, just protected and, nurtured. Yeah, but then 2019 happened where everything just kind of fell. I went through a divorce, I had a miscarriage, I lost my mom. It was very tough. And what I knew, the gracefulness, the protection, all of that, I couldn't use that to survive. I had to get gritty. I had put myself back through school. I went and got my bachelor's degree while I was homeschooling for my children, and also started 2 businesses during the pandemic. That wasn't easy. I needed to, grace didn't get me through that, that grit did. And I felt like, for a little while, I had forgot who I was because I had become so gritty. Like everything, I had to have my hand on everything. I just, if I don't, it's gonna fail. And I had to realize, okay, God, you've given me this gift of grace. And then you showed me on the inside of me, I had grit, but I have to balance the two. No one is more important than the other. No. And so now I'm back on, just really finding balance and resting in my femininity, resting in grace, because if it is to be, it's up to me, but I know God has me. So I don't have to always be so aggressive, so masculine, so hands-on, because life is not built on survival. Sometimes that's a season. And I feel like sometimes we forget, who's really in control. And so when you have your mindset, when you have the proper mindset, like it's so easy for you to just rest. You grind and you get gritty when you need to, but you kind of have that balance where you can also rest.
And shout out to Sarah Lena.
Yes.
That's how we met. That's a whole other conversation. One day I have to hopefully get her on here, but we speaking on femininity, and I think this is huge, especially for Black women, Yes. And when I say balance, grace, and grit, I think we're all on the same page. Like for me, I definitely believe it's both. It's a beautiful balance of both, because that's what keeps us moving forward, but oh my God, thank you, ladies. Yes, I believe it's, and I'm in a season of balancing both. Because when I try to, I joined Sarah, that's how I met Teneisha. I joined Sarah Lena's challenge, and it was the resting in femininity, the soft and sweet challenge, and so grateful for that experience. And I'm taking those tools with me. But I'm a gritty person at heart. That is who I am. And I used to try to suppress that because I used to, but I don't. It's like, this is who I am. This is what brings me here to this, my passion. And so I just use my grit in places that fuel me, not to fight anyone, not to be who I truly am, which is a lover of life and a lover of people. So when you have a grit, use it in the right spaces, it will take you places. And I love what you said about survival, Shaneka. I read Will Smith's book, and he talked about what we needed in our childhood to survive. We don't need it in our adulthood. So that season, it's thriving time as an adult. It's a time to thrive. Survival is needed. I mean, we're born as humans to survive, and we have, those instincts. But the thriving piece, you gotta, at some point in life, should feel like thriving. And I believe that's a season too. So we're here. We're here. So Teneisha and Shaneka just shared that about the grace and the grit, the balance. I think it's beautiful to balance it. It's beautiful to balance it. So, all right, ladies, what advice would you give a teenage or single mother on how to choose power over poverty? This is the mindset, going back to that mindset, not money, because, in a society where power means money or status or goals, What advice would you give a teenage mom or a mom or a woman on mindset of power? Not power doesn't mean money. Because I'll say this, both of this, and this is another conversation, both of them have a lifestyle it's a lifestyle. We talk, we laugh, I say, but life is not about a flex, it's not, but they have lifestyles where during the day, you can stop. We talk during the day. We have 10 and 11 o'clock. That's our conversations are happening during the day. It can happen, but it's a mindset. It's a wealth mindset that has nothing to do with money. So ladies, power, what would y'all say about that?
Your power is in your identity. Just really knowing who you are and not wavering from that. And when you put your mind to something, like one of my favorite scriptures, Mark 9:23, is if you can believe, all things are possible to them that believe. If you can believe it, you can achieve it. And I always say, have a vision board. Like, see yourself the way you want to see yourself. See yourself not just with the materialistic things, but see yourself having peace on earth. See yourself having a healthy marriage. See yourself just having joy in your heart. See yourself running that business or nurturing your children. Like, you have to see yourself in that way so that you can become that. If you can't see it, it's going to be very hard for you to become it because there's no belief there. There's no belief. So just knowing who you are and what you want and having like the see myself with that. Like, there's nothing that can be withheld from you when you can see yourself.
Yes, I agree with Shaneka 100% because, like you were saying, Johnville, we do all have like this life that is considered a flex to the outside world, right? But I consider mine as a blessing because I literally took, my own power to make it be what it is. What I do right now and how I'm living is off of decisions that I made years ago, right? So, and that took me to have the willpower to say, I want to change. And look at me now, years later, reaping the benefits of me having the willpower to change back then, right? So I always say that the power is within yourself, but to always, again, vision who you want to be. And what I did, just to be totally transparent, I literally closed my eyes and asked myself, what house do you want to live in? It was not a house with, the Cinderella stick. It was not even that. It was just, a house that's peaceful, quiet. Kids are healthy. I look good. I'm in shape. I'm cooking healthy foods. I have a garden. I can make supplemental herbs. I'm homeschooling my kids. I'm wearing an all white dress. My hair is long. Like, all of these things ain't have nothing to do with money. But I knew, like, you know what? If that's all I want to make me happy, that's in my power. See, I feel like people mix power with money, and that's two different things. When you just say, hey, what do I want and what can genuinely make me happy, that's within my power, you will be happy. Do not circle that power word around money because money gives you options. So, and I'm not talking about a happy or sad options because there's been plenty of times where I have, plate full, don't want for nothing and go where I want to go and cry my eyeballs out because, me and my person is not getting along. Yeah. Money can't fix that. I can go take a trip to get away from what hurt my feelings, but I still feel some type of way with all this money. So no, power is power within yourself, like Shaneka said. And it starts with yourself.
Power is within. Thank you, ladies. Power is within. Oh my goodness, we got a couple more questions here. I want to talk about, so your background, y'all alluded to it both. Because and this is to the young lady, whether you grew up, what we in the We All community, whether it's the hood, middle class, upper class, back to the mindset, what made you go within and not focus on externally what was going around? Because what was going on in your mind growing up, externally, what was your world like? But internally, how did you ground yourself in your own truth? Because when I meet you ladies, I don't think of a class. You can meet people and think, oh, where were they raised? Or you automatically assume. And then unfortunately are funny. Sometimes they're not even raised. Teneisha and I talked about that. Like some people were raised in a certain suburbs could be, and you think like they've chosen a mindset that has nothing to do with where they were raised, just because they are influenced externally. So how did you stay grounded internally when everything around you looked different?
So for me, I'm gonna be again transparent. I feel like that. Okay, so people who are from the hood and not from the hood, they glamorize this hood mentality based off what they see on the internet and TV. You actually have to actually live and been in there to know that, you know what, that ain't what I want, and I want different. Because when you're living in it, you see, granted, yes, just me being told transparent. My two older kids, they father, was in the streets, still is, he went to the federal prison for having all this money. And of course, the 18-year-old me, I ain't know no better. He could buy me Gucci shoes. I ain't care. And I'm just being honest. You know what I mean? So but when you realize, like, but when you realize, like, you know what, I got these kids, I don't got no parents who gonna come and help me take care of these kids. Like, who gonna do this? Like, when reality sets in, that's when it's like, you know what, like, I can't live like this. So me at 35, of course I would love you to, of course I'm going to date a man who can financially support me. But my question at 35 is, how you getting your money? Because I'm not going to do no bid with you. So, you know what I mean? How are you getting your money? So, and I feel like, again, a lot of us urban women, we look at read these books, with these hood stories, and think it can be a success. It's not. Take it from someone who was born, certified, raised. It is not. Run to the nearest something that don't even look foreign. Because you're just going to be disappointed. And then again, look around your environment. You know what I'm saying? Ask the woman who dating these guys that look like they got some money. Is she happy? Is she where she want to live at? Is she who she wants to be? Look at him. Do he really want to be living like that? Do he really want to be ducking and dodging? Like, ask yourself, is this really worth it? But I feel like that because of TV, the magazines and stuff, they put us in like this whole class of, urban, we got this swag going on, and it's a look. It's a look. But when you go into these trenches and really see how we, because I came from that, how we had to live, it's not fun, honey. You're going to run the opposite way, you and your kids. You're taking them and you're running the opposite way. You're going to keep them guarded because that's not safe. It's not healthy. And you will stay in a revolving cycle by thinking that the hood girl or that mentality, male or female, is what needs to be. No, what are we doing? Like Shaneka said, it's about legacy. So when you get to a certain age, if that's not your mindset, whether you're from the hood or not the hood, if your mindset is not, I want different, I want something better for me and mine, for what I created, it's just going to be what it is.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Shaneka?
Oh, sorry about that. I'm just in the daze now because she said everything that I was thinking. It's really about your mindset. And for me personally, I always thought about my safe place. My innocence was robbed when I was very young. And so I had always had like the safe place near water, whether I was in the bathtub, the shower, it brought me peace being near water. So as I started to get older, the bathtub, all of that, I used to love washing the dishes. It's something about water. So as I got older and I experienced the beach for the first time, I'm like, oh, this is it. Went to Myrtle Beach with my family and just fell in love with just the ocean and the water and the sound and the smell and the waves, the way it felt. And I think I was like maybe 7 or 8 when I had that experience. And I knew then at such a young age, like, that's where I want to be. That's where I feel safe. In the hood, there's no water. You got corner stores, you might have a park, you might have a river. But as far as like what I experienced, I'm like, I always knew that I wanted to live near water. Wow. I wanted to be near, that's my safe place. That's my peaceful place. And so, I would travel even, with my kids. We started about 10 years ago. Every Christmas, we would spend it in Florida. And they fell in love with the weather and the water. And so my mentality was, just to want more,
Mhm.
to create a safe space, not only for me, but for my children. And
Mhm.
I won't ever forget where I came from, but that's not where I'm forever. My upbringing for helping to shape me, the person that I am, but the person I want to become, I just knew I needed to do things and move towards things that brought me peace. And for me, it was the why.
I love that. That's a beautiful way to remember why. Something that you just like, "Ah, this is what I want." And you now implement that with your children. I think that's powerful. Both of you basically said, I wanted something different. I knew it. And this is how. And I also love, Teneisha, how you said in your 20s, you made choices that you was like, nah, but at 35, this is new for me, and that's what evolution is. And that's the beautiful thing about growing. I tell young ladies, what you're doing in your 20s, it's the journey. Continue. The goal is to make better choices now, but you're going to continue to make them as you grow. So we only have 2 more questions here, ladies. And I want to ask this one: advice would you give someone in their 20s on self-esteem? Because both of you are, confident and have self-esteem now, and we're still growing in that areas as always. But what we know now, what can we give them? What can you give them? What can y'all give them on self-esteem?
I would say be around like-minded people. Sometimes you have to borrow belief. Life experiences, your upbringing, things can shift how you view yourself. And for a long time, I would say, I don't wear dresses. I don't do this. I would pick myself apart. Being around Teneisha, I got on a dress today. And I probably wore one like maybe 3 or 4 days last week too. And I would say she poured belief into me.
Wow.
She poured belief into me. And so
That's
being around like-minded people, you can really be who you are. And they see things in you that you probably just don't even see yourself, or you're not as confident or comfortable with. But being around real and, loving people who can really inspire you and just pull, the best out of you, that would be my suggestion. That would be my encouragement, because life is already hard, you know. My relationships, I want them to be fruitful. I want them to be easy. I want them to be, you know, just food for me to continue to grow and evolve. And so I would tell, 20-year-olds or my 20-year-old self is just surround yourself with like-minded people, or those people that you aspire to be.
Mm.
So for me, I think um, I would say to the parts about yourself that make you you, that like nobody else has. This is me. This is my quality. This is what I bring to someone. You keep that and you shelter that. But the things that about yourself that do need a little bit sharpening and do need to change, I wish in my 20s I was receptive to that. It's a difference between being slandered and critiqued. Meaning critique just to kind of, point this out, fix this, fix that, you go ahead, girl. But versus somebody just telling you this, you this, you did. Don't listen to that. But critiquing you to groom you into a better you, take that advice. I used to think like, they don't know what they talk about, or they just this, or they just that, because I didn't want to hear that. I thought I already had it figured out. But no, I needed to, had I would have took that in my 20s, just listen to it and apply that, half of the stuff that I suffered through, I would have never, because I would have been grounded in a different type of way, on top of all of my other good qualities that I have, and just taking pretty much just corrective criticism from people who I know love me, who want to see me do better. And there's going to be a lot of people in your 20s that's going to be there for you. See, now at 35, I can't. I'm thankful that I found you guys, Johnville and Shaneka, because you don't find that many like-minded people as you get older. But when you're young, everybody is free flowing. And some people are gonna say some things that you don't want to hear, and some things that you need to hear and you need to take heed to. So just be open to, what? Is that something that I can change? Is that really an issue that I have? And just look deep into that, because it cannot do anything but make you a better you. So just stay you and guard the best parts of you, but also make sure that you are grooming the other parts that need to be groomed as well.
Y'all both said what I believe is true, relationships. That's it. You talked about Teneisha help you. That's it. And the people around you, and you just relationships, being open to that. I think that's beautiful, and being confident enough to choose them, because you don't accept everybody that comes along. But choosing them and being inspired, use that word, Shaneka, and I love to be inspired by people. But if it doesn't inspire me, I'm like, that's not for me. I think inspiration is what keeps us going. So honestly, y'all answered the last question within that one. So, and it was about choosing people in your lives. And the very last question, which I like to ask everyone, is I am. Answer that question however you want, whether it's a word, but I believe it's a powerful statement. And however you want to answer that, to share with the ladies, and we'll end on that.
Well, I am thankful. I'm grateful. Not everything has been easy. Not everything has been beautiful, but I'm grateful for all of it. Yeah. And I'm just very, very, very thankful. Like this whole season of my life, especially with you ladies, I don't even know where I'm going, but it's so exciting. It's so fulfilling. And I know like my best days are ahead of me. And so I am grateful.
So I'm definitely just going to say I am Grace. Just because I'm just now realizing and knowing what that means and being receptive to just feeling grace. When someone gives me grace, so I'm giving grace. Again, I didn't do that. So grace, like being, just being. And I just now realized that, when you don't have a worry or you're not stressed, I think we're so used to being stressed and overworked to where when we're not, it doesn't feel right. But no, that's when you know that you've accomplished, when you don't feel anything, when you just feel, when you open to just feeling whatever. If it's a bad day, you cool with that. You know what I mean? If it's a good day, you're cool with that. You're just giving yourself grace just to be. So right now, I'm just giving myself grace to be.
Thank you so much, ladies, for coming on here. And if you're new to our channel, which you got to be, because we knew anyway, just join, like, share, subscribe. Any questions, drop them in the comments. But we thank you for watching our video, and we want you to continue to stay true to you, stay close to your soul, and always do the things that make you whole. Until next time, we will see you later.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.